She walked in wearing a hoodie, not armor, but to them, it was rebellion. The manager's glare sliced across the boutique. Security, get her out. Phones lifted. Laughter followed. Probably here to steal, someone whispered. But behind that silence stood something far more dangerous than anger, power. She didn't argue, didn't plead. She memorized every smirk. Hours later, those same mouths went silent. Their jobs vanished, and the brand they worshipped was under investigation. Because the woman they humiliated wasn't broke. She was the hidden hand behind everything they owned. The boutique glittered with arrogance. Crystal chandeliers poured gold light across marble floors polished to a mirror's edge. Every perfume note, every whisper of silk, reminded visitors this place existed for the powerful, and no one else. Then the glass doors opened. A woman in a hoodie stepped inside. Her quiet presence cut through the room like thunder without sound. Heads turned. Whispers spread. The store manager's smirk formed before she even spoke. "Miss, maybe try somewhere. More your range." The laughter that followed wasn't just mockery. It was permission. Permission to treat her like she didn't belong. The woman didn't respond. She simply studied the emerald gown shimmering under the lights. The manager stepped forward. "Don't touch that." The assistant joined in, camera already recording. "You lost? Clearance is 3 blocks down," she stayed calm. "I came here to see quality up close," she said quietly. "Quality," the manager sneered, "isn't for everyone." The assistant smirked at the camera. "See, this is what entitlement looks like," the crowd giggled. Someone muttered, "Probably wants a picture for TikTok." The humiliation built like static in the air. Then the assistant reached out and grabbed her arm. "Let go," she said, voice flat and cold. He laughed. "Or what? Or you'll regret it." Her tone froze him mid-grip. Even the background music died as if afraid to continue. A security guard, older, grey at the temples, stepped forward. "That's enough," he said sharply. "She'll leave on her own. Nobody touches her again." The woman pulled her arm free, nodded once to the guard and walked out. Her back was straight, her face unreadable. Cameras followed every step. By midnight, the clip had reached 1 million views. By morning, 10. The world saw her silence, her restraint, and their cruelty. Hashtags like "Chunk She Belongs" and "Chunk Dignity" first flooded every feed. Protesters gathered outside the store, demanding answers. Corporate remained silent, thinking it would fade. It didn't. 2 days later, the glass doors opened again. She returned, not for revenge, but for truth. The same employees froze. She carried no bag, no anger, just a single black folder. Her tone was calm, measured, and terrifyingly certain. "My name," she said, placing the folder on the counter, "is Dr. Maya Bennett. I'm one of the founding shareholders of this brand." The air vanished from the room. Cameras clicked. Gasps filled the silence. "I built this company 15 years ago," she continued, "before it was sold under a new name. You've spent 2 days mocking me in the very place my signature helped create." The manager's lips trembled. "That's not possible." "Check the records," she replied. "The documents are dated, sealed, and notarized." An assistant sprinted to the back. Minutes later, the CEO himself arrived, surrounded by lawyers and directors. He looked at the papers, then at her. His tone changed instantly. "Dr. Bennett," he said solemnly, "we've verified everything. This store bears your legacy. What happened here doesn't reflect our values. Effective immediately, the employees responsible are suspended pending review." The crowd outside erupted. Reporters shouted questions. Cameras pressed against the glass as the once proud manager wilted under the weight of her own humiliation. Dr. Bennett looked around the boutique slowly, the same walls that had witnessed her disgrace now echoing with justice. "I didn't come for apologies," she said. "I came to remind you that dignity doesn't depend on appearance. It's earned through behavior." She walked to the emerald gown she'd been forbidden to touch and lifted it gently. "This," she said softly, "was never about fabric. It was about perception." She placed the gown back, turned to the crowd and added, "What I needed wasn't a dress. It was an awakening." The line hit like lightning. Within hours, global headlines blazed. Shareholder humiliated in her own store, turns entire brand upside down. Social media exploded. Activists, celebrities, and business leaders echoed her words. The company's board convened an emergency meeting to implement her directive. Dignity first. The suspended manager released an apology video, tearful and rehearsed. It didn't matter. The public had already chosen sides. For Dr. Bennett, justice wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming the story that arrogance tried to rewrite. Days later, as she stood before cameras outside her foundation's office, a reporter asked, "What message do you have for those who judged you?" She smiled faintly. Judgment is easy when you think power wears designer tags, but real power doesn't need a label. It just needs truth. The clip spread like wildfire. Within 48 hours, it had been translated into 12 languages. The brand's stock value soared, not from sympathy, but from belief. The world had seen dignity fight back without shouting. The viral footage became a case study in corporate ethics and unconscious bias. Business schools dissected it. News anchors quoted her closing line. Across the country, store policies changed overnight, and in a small office downtown, Maya Bennett sat behind her desk, reading emails from strangers, employees, students, mothers, all thanking her for standing tall when it would have been easier to walk away. She didn't respond to most. She didn't need to. The message had already reached farther than any press statement could. Before leaving for the night, she glanced at her phone. One notification replaying the moment she placed that folder on the counter. In the clip, her voice was calm, unshaken. What I needed was never a dress. What I needed was an awakening. It had become a mantra, painted on storefronts, printed on protest signs, whispered between strangers who understood that power, when silent, is the most unstoppable force of all. As the lights dimmed in her office, Maya looked out at the city she helped build and whispered to herself, "Let them keep their chandeliers. I'll keep my light." If you believe dignity doesn't need designer labels, prove it. Like this video, share it everywhere, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what moment hit you deepest. Subscribe today and turn on notifications so you never miss stories that expose arrogance and celebrate unstoppable dignity.